Hello, fuck cape shit. Getting a little pitchy. You should see me during pilot season. Anyways, new episode of Shittywebcomics Weekly, brought to you as usual by our wonderful, wonderful Subscribe Star backers. Check out our Subscribe Star linked below to get access to the secret videos that are driving people insane across the entire internet as we speak. As we speak, meaning right now, as opposed to when you see this video, which will probably not be for another week or two, or something like that. But this week I figured I would cover something that's so barely qualifying. But you know what? I don't care. We wanted to cover the STBR community, of which is Star Trek but racist, which is something that we kind of wanted to do a video about it like a year ago when I first saw people. I remember Kay actually very temporarily turned her account into Star Trek. It was basically, I don't think it was even called Star Trek but racist. You know, I think it was. But she turned hers into like sort of borderline gimmicky character. It was just for fun based on Star Trek characters. But what if instead I said that something like that? So and I follow a couple of them. In fact, I only just recently started following Manlet Thorin, who is actually from the Hobbit movies, and he would constantly be tweeting about how the Hobbit movies are clearly the best movies. They're better than the Lord of the Rings movies. They're better than the Rankin Bass stuff. Clearly, I think he's right, even though I haven't seen any of them. But I saw the Lord of the Rings movies. I mean, those are good. But yeah, he follows me and brother, and I think he's subscribed to our wonderful channel. He clearly has good taste. So, that's how I know the Hobbit movies are good, because he clearly has good taste. Also, Colonizer Archer, who I followed him because he started following me. And again, their tweets are funny, so I figured we would do a video about some of the stuff. The first one here is like a list of accounts. This is almost fucking like enemies list. Like, oh, maybe we shouldn't be showing this. But it goes to show... The reason why I wanted to show this tweet is because it shows that there's a bunch of people who do this goofy shit. And as an example of what this kind of goofy shit is, well, here's just fucking something I had open already from catching up with Twitter, is the out of the sneed and into the feed. Whoa. Okay, no, that's not related. I wrote down a big-ass list, though, of tweets for the video that we're eventually going to do. And this one's from FriendlyWeiyun that says, Oi, essay. Don't forget to check out your favorite Star Trek but racist accounts like P. Daka Daka, FriendlyWeiyun, Simp Neelix. Only available on Cozy TV. Make sure to type in your full name, date of birth, and social security to begin your free trial. And it's Nick Fuentes rubbing his hands together.
Looking especially JWordy.
It's massively JWordy. But the next one is from Eugenicist Phlox, which is a canonically accurate name.
That happened in the actual.
That happened in the show. I think that's why some of these people love Enterprise so much, because it's just like that without it having to take place in the mirror universe already. But he just says STBR be like, and then it's the title of the episode Move Along Home, which was I think that was season 1. I think it was like the 3rd or 4th episode. The episode that kind of sucked, but the screen cap, though, it's the episode title with Quark looking very intently at Cisco, he's telling
him the title of the episode.
He's saying, what are we, some kind of move along home? But anyways, this one, Charlo Tuckfield is also pretty funny. Florida Man Tucker, space engineer. And it's a picture. I don't know what episode this is for. Oh yeah, isn't this the one where the Doctor took control of Seven of Nine and it was being very doctory and sassy?
6 or 7.
but she's looking like, oh, you, and it's saying, in fact, the total number of deaths in the Holocaust is disputed. Some suggest the total death count is far lower than the 6 million estimated by many academics. It's almost kind of an reference to the episode the Voyager conspiracy, which was, I mean, I didn't watch every single Voyager episode, but I watched some of them because that one in particular
I
was
think I
good.
watched the vast majority of the show. I also did. We could actually cover this, but I covered or I went over a guy's site who reviewed a bunch of Voyager
You
episodes, and
mean
I kind of
Jammers
judged which ones
reviews?
I would watch based on that.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, we used to read Jammers reviews all the time because it was a good
Yeah.
indicator of what was good and not good.
At least it was a
Star
good
Trek.
starting point. I
Yeah,
don't agree with him on every single episode, but for the most part, I like
yeah, like
he's
he reviews
praising
Picard and
or not Enterprise, but fucking what was it, Discovery?
Discovery.
Yeah,
Yeah, he gives good
Picard
reviews to
way
Discovery.
too
Yeah,
much.
it's clearly bullshit. Um, he's one of the only people who gives like he has like 0 to 4 star rating scale, and he'll give like 2.5, 3 stars to most of the Discovery episodes. And it's like clearly not. It's
Especially
clearly
the
not really
really
worth
bad
it.
ones.
There's
I watch those episodes; they're fucking atrocious.
there's a lack of Star Trek. I think that's a major factor probably with him is like if you really want Star Trek, the only place you can get it now is New Trek. The new fresh stuff is New Trek and it's not Star Trek. And that's in a way that's what these goofy accounts are sort of satirizing. It's almost like a reactionary reaction, if you will. I just plugged in my headphones, by the way. I noticed the I'm gonna have to do that every time because your stuff coming through gets picked up by the stupid gay program, the VTuber program. But anyways, um, yeah. The other thing though is I read Jammer's reviews because I wanted to see like if he was even keeping up with it, and yeah, he was giving positive reviews to a lot of the shit, Picard and Discovery, and I'm like, yeah, not clearly not, and I saw though that he kind of he gave he gave lower reviews to lower decks until the later episodes where he was like giving them really high reviews, and it's like, okay, is this guy out of his mind? And then I saw SF Debris, who I think is way more reliable, way more trustworthy. He gave some positive reviews of some of the later Lower Decks episodes again. So I'm not going to try to endorse Lower Decks, but one thing I will say, SF Jabri said that the first several episodes, specifically the first two, he skipped them entirely. He's like, I'm not going to review those yet. We'll get to those eventually. And
Wasn't
then he
it
did review them.
Noteful who was actually the one who turned us on to Lower Decks to begin with? Because
Um,
I wasn't going to watch the show at all.
no, I think it was me. I think it was just me, and it was because of SF Debris's reviews, but also to a lesser extent, Jammer's reviews. Where he said, well, it wasn't that he gave positive reviews to Lower Decks. It was one of the later episodes in season one where Mariner, who's the sassy black chick, basically she does a holodeck program where she's just trying to really get some kind of weirdo, very weirdo, which is for sure wrong, catharsis against like her own mom, who's the captain of the ship.
Isn't that the movie episode also, where it's
Yeah,
just like, let's make it a movie?
yeah, and she's casting herself as the villain, and her goal is to kill her mom, and everyone else is like, "Oh, that's kind of weird. That doesn't seem right." She ends up having to fight herself, who's against herself, and it's actually kind of a good culmination of the previous episodes where Mariner is really annoying and a bad person.
Well, she's really annoying right from the beginning and
Yeah,
a bad person, but also in the first two episodes, it's treated like you're just misunderstanding her because
yeah.
she's actually very powerful.
You don't get how
I don't
cool
give a
she
fuck.
is. And that's the thing is that later episodes are like, no, she's not cool. In fact, she's a fucking stupid asshole. And it actually redeems and saves her
Well,
character.
it's
And
the
that episode in
what is it?
particular.
The Galbrush Threepwood
Yes,
syndrome.
yes, exactly. It's a
Absolute
perfect,
Galbrush Threepwood syndrome.
yeah, it's a perfect example of the Galbrush syndrome, where you can't make a female who's a fucking stupid asshole. And that's the thing, is that they sort of
You can
leaned
never
into
use
that.
a woman as like either the butt of a joke or as a legitimately interesting flawed character. You're never allowed to do that because it's always going to be referred to as sexism.
Yeah, and that's the
Which
thing, is that
thereby reinforces actual misogyny,
yes,
which is great. As a legitimate
it
misogynist, I
yes,
always appreciate that.
it justifies misogyny correctly on a morally objective level. It proves that misogyny is correct and true. It's a wonderful thing. But yeah, that's the thing, and it still doesn't fully save her character. Like, I can't guarantee, oh, you'll actually like Star Trek Lower Decks. But one thing I will say, Star Trek Lower Decks is so much more like Star Trek. It's the one of the other reasons why people like the Orville so much, or did anyways, is that
Even as a comedy, it's
yes,
better, more effective as actual Star Trek
yeah,
than the new
hits
fucking Discovery
the
and
fucking Star Trek
Picard.
fix for a lot of that's the thing. The other things are clearly made to be Star Wars. Those are clearly just trying to turn Star Trek into Star Wars. They want it to be Star Wars. They want it to be Star Warsian. They want the Force, but all they have instead are phasers. So they are like, okay, just use 1,000,000 phasers, and it's like, ugh. They could have
There's
made their own
magic
show.
mushrooms.
Yes,
There's going to be magic spores that
it's a
work like
prequel, but there's
force.
magic space mushrooms that is how they travel. And it's like, so Voyager could have just done this to get home. The mycelium network. As
Let's
soon as I
face
heard
it,
about that, I
put
knew the whole
simply,
show was bullshit.
we already have warp drive.
Yeah.
We don't need this shit, and this is stupid.
They even have transwarp drive, and the Borg had transwarp hubs that would just take them right to Earth the whole time, and they never used them. How come? Why come they ain't used them? They never even explained that. That's one of the most fucked up things about. It's why Voyager sucks too, actually. But I mean,
Yes.
but
It's just
Voyager's
that
still
we
better.
never thought it would get worse.
Yeah, that's the thing. I remember when Voyager was the worst Star Trek shit you could imagine. And we had no idea how much worse everything was gonna get. And you know what? Things can get even worse from here. But at least 7 of 9 being a little basted with the red pills. She's a Holocaust revisionist, and
She's
going
been
on
marinating in olive oil, sea salt, and fucking
the next
garlic
one.
for 3 days. She's totally basted with red pills.
Oh, delicious. This other one, MulletO'Brien at Borg posting, just saying this nigga's fits were unmatched, and it's up just a bunch of pictures of Quark with the most elaborate fucking suit jackets. I have to admit, I always thought the way they designed uniforms in Star Trek, like older than New Trek but newer than Old Trek, some of it was just fucking awful. The uniform, I can't watch the first 2 seasons for a lot of reasons. One of them is the uniforms. It's a minor reason, really. It's because I mean, Measure of a Man's still a good episode. The uniforms are good, but just the way they look is like fucking. It's like spandex is the future. No, just fucking no. But the way Quark's outfits always do look, it's true. He's fucking future drip, I guess is what the. I never liked the term drip, but still,
Nope.
whatever. Nope. But yeah, you know what's funny is that it's this the style of the sort of coat. It's like not a vest, but it's not a suit jacket, but connects together in the front with like a big. It's a kind of timeless. It's actually kind of legitimately genius. I might say genius. Here's a reply. This just nothing to do with it. Fucking. Oh, I like this. Quark walked so he could run, and it's the guy from I Think You Should Leave, just wearing this fucking bizarre shirt with these goofy ass patterns. I'm showing it on the screen. It's okay. In case you're not watching, I guess you'll have to look to really. I can't even describe the shirt because I'm going to be like, it's blue, but it's not blue. It's black, but it's got blue stuff. But what are they? Pipes and then yellow boomerangs. Another reply though. Some costume designer for DS9 and Voy must have got some bulk upholstery fabric on the cheap. That's one thing that did still kind of bother me about Quark's outfits is like, they would look better if they were like silk or something like that, or I don't know, something. You could tell it's like curtain fabric. But they did their best with it. And that it's not even that it looks good, but it looks like something that somebody who is convinced the more elaborate it's supposed to look means it looks like you're richer. It's about the status appearance of his suit. That's
You know
why
what that
Clark's,
reminds me of?
yeah, is fake. It reminds me of fucking dumb comic book nerds, which is why this is all related to comics. That's why we're talking about this on an episode of Shitty Webcomics Weekly. What a great connection we just made. We're so good at this. But also, yeah, they fabric on the cheap because that's what the costumes look like they're made from. Maybe you could do Who Word It Better, Neelix or this couch. He's calling my boy, it's ya boy, Quark. He's calling him a couch. Is that a
It's
racial
your boy.
slur? That's the new
Your
racial
boy
slur
Quark.
against fucking. Speaking of racial slurs, the ensign, like racist ensign Row or something, her account. I linked to a tweet she made in the notes from like a couple weeks ago. Going into it now, this tweet's from a suspended account. They do go after the racist Star Trek women harder apparently. Twitter, very misogynist in a bad way. I never thought that was possible.
Soggiest of knees.
Yes. This, somebody just named Cab, Soul of Cab, but saying, Captain, I'm not saying the eugenics war was right, but the crime rates were very low, and it's just a picture of Tucker.
Haha.
Oh no, the comments may contain offensive content. The space trains ran on space time. Posted by alt-right Barclay. Thank you, Barclay. Yeah, that was clearly so offensive. I needed to be. You know what? Why do I fucking
Needed to be protected.
Yeah, that I need to be protected from that. Even though I have all the fucking options to just show me whatever the fuck ever, but whatever. I like that they legit have a guy be like the eugenics dictator in America was misunderstood. Watch this little Dark Age edit of his speech. Fucking Enterprise was a good show, especially the final season had several
Season 3
good
and 4
episodes.
were legitimately good. Seasons
Yeah.
1 and 2 were very bad.
Yeah. Although, you know what? I know a lot of people don't like the premiere Broken Bow, but I thought it was all right. I kind of liked it.
Compared to fucking Encounter and Farpoint.
Yeah, exactly. And compared to a lot of seasons 1 of 2 of Voyager, where it's like, oh no, the hallways don't connect properly. We can squeeze 45 minutes out of this, right? And then just forgot it ever happened. And the one where there was two... I just realized morbin is... The word morbin is just trending on Twitter right now. Anyways. Radical...
Mighty Morbin.
Yes, it's more...
Power Ranger.
Because it's morbin time. Was that... You know what? I watched the movie. I watched Morbin.
I watched the movie and I don't remember that.
I mean, Morbius.
I don't remember where he gets the Megazord.
I don't remember that line, but I think he does actually say it. And if he doesn't, that means it got memed into my memories falsely. I now contain false memories in my mind.
Meme magic. Yeah, fucking... I have false memory syndrome.
Give me steam, and what you feel makes memes real.
Memes done pretty good.
Thanks to Gay Ben, the real magic is of Gay Ben.
Gay Ben.
Gay Ben. Anyways, the Radical Riker say, I'm beaming homophobia directly into my mind, and it's the fucking shot from the game where he starts playing the game. Grand Nagus is saying, me and the boys trolling Cardassians how many lights there were, and it's like, fuck. I was gonna say the Ultimate Warrior. Now I don't know wrestling. I don't think this is the Ultimate Warrior. I think it's Brutus the Barber Beefcake Butcher.
I guess.
But they're all these guys, all these wrestling guys. All of them are holding up 4 fingers. Radical Riker again. I'm sorry, Seven, but you're mid, and it's the Doctor just shooting a phaser. I guess killing 7 of 9. She's dead. She's dead now. Canonically,
She's dead for real. Errol.
One of the only Wambian female STBR accounts that's still around is Lieutenant Commander, and it's like this autistic female Vulcan like character thing.
I think it's supposed to be based on the one from it's
From
like
like
a
season
season
two.
1 or 2.
I think it was season two. Yeah, that Vulcan chick with a blue uniform. Yeah. Um, my parents at age
You
120.
know, it was episode. It was season 1 because it was the Graves World episode. Was that season 1?
Oh yeah, you mean the one where he takes over Data?
Yeah,
I never saw that until last year because I avoided season one and two like the fucking plague. I just fucking
not quite bad.
couldn't watch it.
That episode was very silly, but it was better than a lot of the other
Yeah,
shit.
that episode, that is the episode where the fucking guy says, women aren't people. And it's like, yeah, fucking
Just burst out with women aren't
women
people,
aren't people. It's like,
and
yeah,
then
this
that's
guy's
it.
cool. Finally, the hero. It has one of the dumbest fucking results, the end thing. It gives a chop socky bitch slap backhand to Picard, who bounces off the walls cartoonishly like a 7-year-old. But, yeah, my parents at age 120, let's start a family for the propagation of our bloodline and species. That is logical. And then me at age 120, the Borg assimilated another billion people today. Starfleet predicts total defeat in 3 weeks. Which is, I think that's more of a reference to that DS9 episode, which was a classic. He, 3 weeks. That's generous. True, I should have made it 3 days. Why is her blush red? Forgot to edit it. Oh, God. Here's Armus, who is perhaps just a guy, but he posting this
Harless.
oops, all Jeffrey Combs, and it's just fucking so many Jeffrey Combs from fucking various Star Trek shows. I think this is the one. Is this the one where I replied? No, I guess not, because I replied to one of them with Jeffrey Combs from Lower Decks, where he plays an evil computer that's constantly trying to convince people to plug him into other computers. There's one thing I'll say: if you cannot stand Rick and Morty, don't even try watching even the better episodes of Lower Decks. But Rick and Morty was pretty decent in the first couple of seasons, at least.
Yeah.
And,
Season 1 and 2, I mean, there was a massive drop off, and it's also clear why.
yeah,
They even
when they
admitted
said
it. Like, we hired a bunch of women
yes,
to write for the show now, and so every episode is about how our psychology degree is going to help us out here.
our basket
Like,
fucking my basket weaving degree. I'll fucking write that into the episode where
Fuck
suddenly
off,
Rick
bitches.
is. Yeah, the funny thing is that, yeah, Rick wasn't, like, the best person in the first couple of seasons. He was just supposed to be, like, a super smart genius. He wasn't even necessarily the smartest person. He was a stupid asshole who was wrong.
It was a bunch of tropes from sci-fi, TV, and movies.
A big
from
mix of them. And with an element of Star Trek. So, yeah, some of the people from Rick and Morty work on Lower Decks. But the thing is that, again, the begin. I would definitely skip the first couple of episodes. I would start with, like, what was the episode where it was actually the first officer of the ship who's like fucking, Chad Thundercock guy actually saves Mariner, and he stabs her in the foot so that he can go rescue.
That actually was helping. Yeah, that helped to sell the show to me.
Yes.
A bit. At least that little much.
That was
much.
Yeah, that was extremely problematic in a good way. That's when I say something's problematic, that means it's good. Yes. Yeah, he stabbed the sassy black girl who's like, I'm gonna fucking actually save the day. So give me that sword, and he's like, okay, and then just fucking like plunges the sword into her foot, and she's like rolling on the floor, screaming in anguish. Ah, it's so delicious. And then he fucking like rips off his shirt to go fight the monster, and instead of him usually. In this kind of thing, he would be like, I'm the tough guy, and then he would get his ass kicked, and she would be like, see, and then she would science up a thing that would fucking solve the problem. That's the new magic. Trek thing.
They would science up some shit, and it would be just treated like it was magic.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, she really is the best." And he would be like, he would either be like, "Whatever," and
And you're not allowed to think of it as comedy either,
yeah,
because if you do that, then you hate women.
yeah.
And
It's the
why?
Nanette thing where it's like comedy doesn't have to be about laughter anymore. It's like what the fuck? But
What the
yeah,
fuck? It's
instead,
a
it's just
bitch.
completely dunks on Mariner. That's where I would. I think that's only the third episode, and I would definitely recommend if you're even remotely curious, as a who is it? Edgar Mellencamp would say, if you're remotely curious, then watch that episode first, and I would say watch the episodes after that. And it may be a little hit and miss, but I think you might like it if it's possible. You may not like it at all, but I'm just saying.
It's worth. That's the thing is, believe me, I was going to dump the show. I was not going to give it a chance.
Yeah,
Well, I ended up giving it a chance almost on accident, and
it
at the
was
very
because
least,
I
I
went
got
off for
something
like
out
an
of it.
entire night watching the entire first season and like I was live blogging it on my Discord server, but yeah, I was going episode by episode, and I was like, here's this, here's this. Even the episode where it's like, fucking, oh no, what's the one where they're pulling their assholes open and all naked and having sex? I saw that one. It turns out it was a holodeck thing, and it was to troll Mariner, and she immediately commits suicide because of it. I thought that was funny. And again, it wasn't like it was dwelling on it, it was like 2 frames just as like a shock thing. So it was weird how it kind of got overblown, and it makes sense because the show wasn't good at first, and there was a lot of reasons to hate it. But when you
There's a
watch
lot of
it,
reasons to hate modern Trek.
yes, the thing is though, it is so much more like TNG or at least like Voyager than New Trek. If you are jonesing for some fresh Star Trek content that's actually supposed to be like Star Trek, Lower Decks is so much more like it. But it is still a comedy. There's some missteps, various throughout the first season. The second season, I think it's a lot better. Also, like that they reintroduced the Packleds as a recurring villain. The
But
Packleds,
they
which
don't
were
try and smarten them up or anything.
they
They're
even
still dumb.
there's even a great joke where they say, "But I thought the Packlets were a joke," and they're like, "Apparently not anymore," but they clearly still are. And again, and that alone is part of the joke. I thought that was funny and kind of clever. And again, you don't have to watch it seriously either because it is still supposed to be a comedy. The problem is that if it's a comedy, it has to be funny. But and Star Trek itself, regular good Star Trek, has always been a little awkward with humor as well. And this, when it's awkward in a different way. But when it's funny, I think it's definitely consistently funnier than Star Trek when it's actually trying. And that, but I mean, Star Trek was originally made by nerds and that kind of thing, and made lots of great episodes. It's all about that's the thing. I didn't want to do this about like let me secretly encourage you or convince you to like Lower Decks because I think a lot of people still hate Lower Decks, find it annoying. But I just wanted to say though, the sassy black chick gets hers in a lot of bad ways in some episodes. There's still a lot like, you're the coolest, you're badass, which is really annoying. But
It's always going to be annoying.
but yeah, I'm actually looking forward to the third season of Lower Decks. Whereas I haven't watched past the pilot of Discovery. I skimmed through the final episode of the first season of Picard, and it was like right at the beginning they're like, this thing, if you just imagine it fixing the ship, it will fix it. They do that, and then it's never used again, never brought up again through the entire, not even the next season. It's like, what did they drop it out a fucking window or something? What the fuck's going? And like, there's space plants that are trying to prevent a fucking evil race of interdimensional fucking. It's clearly not Star Trek. But it's also like the fucking chick Picard's trying to save her, but she's trying to summon the evil space monsters. Like, just photon torpedo, right? Just vapor. The house has been obliterated. I would love to see. I would unironically love to see that. Just vapor. And then they like the last 2 minutes of the show. They're like, Picard, you died, but we put you into an android body that will also die in a few years. You have the same number of, and it's like, why? What? Who cares? What the fuck? It's so pointless. Lower Decks is unironically better. I have no qualms about, no hesitation saying
Yeah,
Lower Decks is
yeah,
easily
by
better than
far.
that.
It's
Even the
not
worst
even
parts of Lower Decks.
It's not even a contest.
Yeah. Um, Here, though, also, Manlet Thorin, this is from a few weeks ago, saying the age of leftist Harry Potter is over. The time of R.W. Potter posting has begun. I wanted
Well,
was
no, they're not going to be happy about that.
It's from one of the newer movie. I think the Fantastic Monsters, whatever the fuck movies. All I wanted was for Gellert to stop peddling his Grindel wussy on the street corner and return to God's embrace. That's because what with fucking J.K. Rowling being a radical hard turf, full on fucking pro Christ, anti trans. She's killed. She is responsible for trans people being dead. She has the blood of trans people on her hands. She's pretty cool, I guess. But yeah, the last one though is my favorite one here. Is Charlo Tuckfield again, Florida man Tucker, not trucker, saying, and it's but it's Reed from Enterprise speaking into the communicator, looking especially pinch mouthed more than ever, but saying, Captain, we swept the ship and found no mids. All the women left are stone cold stunners or 20 stone heavy. Like they're fucking, their mission now is to kill the mids, vaporized, blown out to space. Destroy mids, unironically in real life, and also in this picture.
Not even ugly women, just mid,
Yes.
just 5 out of 10.
The uglier they are, the more they can survive, the more they're allowed to live. Which, fucking, in a way, that kind of makes you think. It deactivates the almonds, actually, if anything. Anyways, another classic episode of Shitty Webcomics Weekly. If you want to encourage us to do this kind of fucking ridiculous shit, this kind of sick, fucking insane, weirdo, fucking hardcore, neo-Nazi fucking behavior that you see here, right here on screen, then donate to our Subscribe Star, apparently. Even though our Subscribe Star has nothing to do with any of this. But, yeah, just donate to our Subscribe Star anyways. Come on. Come on, you fucking piece of shit.
Motherfuckers.
You motherfuckers. But you get access to all sorts of extra videos about, again, things that have nothing to do with this. But certainly interesting things and the insights that everyone else will be saying in the next few years. That's been proven true. We've seen that in action over the previous years. So again, you don't want to miss out, do you? If you do want to miss out, if you don't want to know the truth, don't donate to our Subscribe Star. But if you do want to know the truth, check us out. You can even just donate $1. But also you can, as far as our regular channel, unlike, don't share, unsubscribe, resubscribe, crank that bell, unhit the re-like, and
move the bell, prove the bell.
Inject the bell, inject the venom, and should have listened to Shitty Webcomics.